We're going to continue and look at other systems that we typically find in organizations. The first system that many companies do implement is known as your supply chain management system. Now, supply chain management or supply chains, we discussed that together with value chains in section 1 or topic 1. So supply chain management is actually a system that includes all the planning, executing and controlling of all the activities that's involved in raw material sourcing and procurement. So what does this mean? If you develop new products, you receive a lot of raw materials, you do something to the materials, you add value to it, and you deliver a product, all of that will fall under supply chain management. Now there's various aspects involved. You need to think about inbound logistics, outbound logistics. You need to look at procurement, distribution, your profit margins, all those kind of things. So once you've taken hold of your raw materials, you've developed your products, and then these need to be saved or stored within a warehouse. And then after that, you're going to receive all your customer requests, people buying your products, and then those need to be delivered. So supply chain management, or just known as SCM, actually helps you with all of these activities. Now the overall goal of SCM is to reduce cost, to ultimately improve customer service, and to reduce the overall investment in inventory. So ensuring that products don't sit in your warehouse, that you actually have the ability to sell your products, to get rid of those products. Now, what are the processes involved? There's a bunch of processes, roughly 7. So we're going to start with sales forecasting, where we're going to try and get an estimate of future customer demand. How many products do we need to create, and what will the requirement or the demand be from our customers? That then proceeds into sales and operations, where you take demand of your current inventory levels, and then you need to determine how many products should be produced in order to ensure that your inventory levels remain at a certain level. That then goes into demand management, where you need to determine your weekly or daily production. That in turn goes into detailed scheduling, where you might need to look at the order in which you're going to produce products. So which products do you need to produce first? Let's say, for example, one product might be linked to other products. So you need to have a specific plan in place to develop products, and you need to know also when to switch to other products. That is then linked to materials requirement planning. How much time do you need to set aside to order your raw materials? How long do you need to wait for suppliers to supply those materials? That then goes into purchasing your raw materials, placing orders, ensuring that these are delivered, and then that ultimately goes into production, where you start combining these raw materials into an actual product. Now this is a very simplified explanation of the process. The next system that we typically find is customer relationship management. Now CRM is actually very important to the success of companies. If we don't keep our customers happy, they will typically go to other companies, and we're going to lose out on sales and possible profits. Now, what is customer relationship management? It's actually software that automate and integrate all the functions of sales, marketing and services within our organization. So you're going to capture data about every contact or any interaction a company has with its customers by means of all the different channels. It might be email correspondence, telephone correspondence, social media, and then all of this data will be saved within your CRM system. These data can later then be studied, and you can actually go and build profiles for your customers. If you think back to e-commerce, where we talked about B2Me, business to me, this is typically where that data analysis or pattern recognition takes place. So to simplify, CRM is actually a central repository or database with all our customer data that we use throughout our organization. So if you look at the image that we have there in the bottom right, you will see it can be information that we derive from various other departments and even from various platforms. Now, what are some of the more important CRM features? First of all, we will have contact management. Now, this is the ability to track the data of individual customers and to access it from any part in your organization. We need to think about sales management. Organize your data about customers and sales, and then prioritize sales opportunities. So typically you would look at your customers, you would look at the products that they buy, and especially if you're developing new products, you can then target those customers and tell them of new improvements or new products that's being delivered, trying to get them to buy into those products. Number 3 is customer support. And this comes down to your call centers, where you need to make sure that whenever a customer calls your company, that you have the necessary people, the necessary resources in order to solve their claims. We need to think about marketing automation. Through capturing and analyzing all customer interactions, we can now go and create individualized marketing campaigns based on either individual customers or certain segments. We need to look at analysis, analyzing our data, trying to identify ways to increase revenue and to decrease costs. So what are we doing that's wrong that we might need to improve? So for example, if we find that a lot of customers are calling us with regards to a certain product, it might tell us that we need to either withdraw that product or to improve that product. Number 6, social networking. With social networking, it's become very important, especially since the evolution of Web 2.0, where people now have the ability to create content. So we need to now go and create and join groups such as Facebook and Twitter. We need to monitor those interactions, and sometimes those interactions need to be recorded into our own systems as well. CRM systems also need to be accessed by smartphones. Nowadays we do find that your reps and some of your employees move around a lot, so they still need to have access to all of the customer resources and data. And then the last feature is to import contact data. Importing data from various data service providers. For example, you might have a link to certain companies, so whenever there's new clients within a certain region, they will send you the information and then you can go and contact those clients. The next system that we're going to refer to is PLM, or Product Lifecycle Management. Now, Product Lifecycle Management is the whole cycle through which raw materials will be converted into an actual product. So it's an enterprise business strategy that creates a repository of product information on all the processes. Now, the aim is to support collaborative creation, management, dissemination, and the use of product and packaging definition information. Now, what does this mean? Think about something like a cell phone. Whenever a company develops a new cell phone, they're actually generating a lot of data. Now, I'm going to use Samsung in this example. Let's say, for argument's sake, Samsung is developing the new S8. So from the design drawings, going right through to the components, to the implementation, the creation, the raw materials, CPUs, battery, all of that information needs to be recorded. So we will typically find that it's going to start possibly at research and development. People will see, okay, what is the demand in the industry, what is the requirements from customers, and what do we need to do in order to develop a new product. That goes into a concept. The concept will be designed, and as we go on, all of the information will actually build on previous information, and it actually will also contribute to our existing information within our database. That product then goes into prototype and testing. Then we're going to design and assemble the actual product. We're going to deliver it. If it needs to be installed, it will be installed. And then we need to provide services and support, and ultimately we might need to recall or replace products. Last feature that's linked to this is actually sales and marketing. For example, if we think about the cell phone development, if Samsung now comes out with a new screen, that will go through research and development, design, prototyping, they will release a product, And then all of that information they can later on use for sales and marketing. So product lifecycle management is actually used thoroughly in a lot of companies. Now let's look at some of the benefits of PLM. It's actually going to assist us to reduce the time to market. So we're actually linking the design teams, research and development, product manufacturing, procurement, customer service. So all of these people can indirectly work together. It helps us to reduce costs. So by using software simulations, we can actually now go and with the most efficient and effective manner possibly develop and design products. So reducing the need on our raw materials and perhaps wastage of raw materials. And then the last one, it ensures that we are compliant with regulations. Many companies need to provide security with regards to their databases, tracking and audit trails, document management, workflow communication, etc. So through using product lifecycle management, they can actually record and look at all of these aspects. The next concept we're going to know or talk about is the hosted software model. Now it's important to realize that this isn't an actual company system. It's more an approach that companies would use with regards to various system implementations. Now, many businesses have realized that it is actually better to start to use the hosted software model, and we typically find that it's more applied to SMEs. So SMEs can go, they can subscribe to the hosted software model, they can experiment with powerful software without actually buying the software. So by using the hosted software model, you can use certain features of the software at a cheaper price without buying the full software. You also don't need to employ additional personnel such as IT people, because a lot of the support and functionality will be provided by the company that provides the hosting of this particular software model. And then you're also going to save on hardware and additional maintenance costs, because again, the company that provides these services, they will take ownership of those particular devices. Now, what are some of the advantages and disadvantages? The advantage is we're going to have a decreased total cost of ownership. So a lot of the money that we needed to put into the system will actually now be taken away from us, because we don't need to pay as much for the system, and a lot of the responsibilities will actually go to the company that provides a system. So as we mentioned before, we don't need to hire additional people. We typically find faster system startup, because you don't now need to go and implement and install a new system. All of that will be done by that other company. We find lower implementation risk, and we also find that the management of systems are outsourced to the experts that work with that on a daily basis. However, there are some disadvantages. There might be availability and reliability issues. Again, similar to our vendor discussion with ERP systems, you need to ensure that vendors or that the providers will be able to support your company 24/7 and to help you with any technical questions or issues that you might detect. We also need to realize that there might be data security issues. How secure is our information? Can our customer information be hacked? What are some of the problems integrating the product? Let's say if we use different vendors or if we have different products, can these products talk to one another? And then, even though we're going to save money, it might also mean that we need to have additional tasks linked to our company by ensuring that we manage the vendor interactions appropriately. Now, this is the end of our last section for topic 5 for internet and commerce and other systems. For the next section, please think about how e-commerce can be applied within the South African context. Think about whether you're currently making use of online shopping. If you're afraid to use it, why are you afraid? What are the reasons behind that? So think about some examples and think about ways in which we can actually go and implement e-commerce in South Africa. Also, please go and look at some of the following video clips. There's some nice videos where they talk about smartphone users, the future of e-commerce, m-commerce and how it affects your business, as well as what is ERP.